The organization also confiscated more than 100 donkey skins for a lion farm near Tosca in the Northwest Province. The NSPCA euthanized 70 donkeys after being discovered in a shocking condition on a farm outside Bloemfontein. Community members who rely on donkeys for transportation and farming purposes lament that their animals are stolen and mutilated mercilessly. The donkeys are slaughtered in great numbers for their skins and exported to produce jiao, a gelatin-like substance used in Chinese traditional medicines. According to research, jiao has no medicinal value. According to the Humane Society International, the number of donkey hides allowed to be exported from South Africa is restricted to 7,300 a year. However, hundreds of South African traders advertising donkey hide export a few hundred pieces to 40 food containers. Demand from China could reach up to 10 million donkeys per year, representing almost a quarter of the entire global donkey population. For more on this, we are joined by Mumpati Khomani Mudimukale, who is the director of Anga Holdings. Good afternoon and welcome to our program.
Yes.
Tell us about your interest in the donkey market. How did you identify it?
I was visiting Botswana. Then when I was working around the mall, I saw a stand where they were selling donkey milk and donkey soap. Then I approached the guy who was selling there, and he started telling me about the things that I know as a small boy, because as a small boy and I grew up, when you have a flu or have some ear infections, your grandmother will just milk the donkey and put that donkey milk in your ear, or you'll drink the thing. Then I started doing some research around South Africa, and I approached University of Northwest and do the presentation to them. So we managed to sign an agreement with them to say they are willing to assist us in terms of establishing the donkey industry in Northwest.
But why are people killing donkeys like this in the Northwest?
Quite like you said, said that the donkey skin is high demand for China. So people are selling the donkey skin in a black market, because in South Africa we are not allowed to export donkey skin to China. So you have to do it illegally.
You might be enjoying what you think is a juicy beef burger or making a meaty beef stew. Well, according to the BBC, South African food scientists said they have found donkey, water buffalo and goat meat in mislabeled foods, including beef burgers, ground beef and sausages. The meats were found in both supermarket packaged meats and butcher meats. Supermarkets and butcheries across South Africa have insisted that their brand of beef is 100% pure beef. A study published by the local Stellenbosch University found that 99 of 139 samples contained a species not declared in the product label. Donkey, water buffalo, and goat meat have been sold as burgers and sausages in South Africa. Some people have vocalized their distaste at being misled.
Basically, we still have to uncover more when it comes to what we eat from day to day. Especially with meat. Even with chickens that we have, in fact, they are not as healthy chickens as they're supposed to be. Burgers we buy from all these outlets, so I don't really think that's still part of the little bit that we have, but basically we still have got to find more. Maybe snakes will be there as well as we move on, you'll never know.
Thank you. 100% pure beef. A study published by the local Stellenbosch University found that 99 of 139 samples contained a species not declared in the product label. Donkey, water buffalo, and goat meat have been sold as burgers and sausages in South Africa. Some people have vocalized their distaste at being misled. Welcome to Animal Sciences channel. This video is about domestication of cattle. Domestication can be defined as an evolutionary process, by which a population of captive animals adapt to man, and the environment he provides. Domestication occurs over many generations, through a combination of genetic changes, and environmental experiences recurring each generation.
Scientists at Ag Research tried for 6 years to create a cow like Daisy. The eureka moment came when they milked her in April.
We were very excited by seeing the result.
What scientists wanted was a cow that produced a milk that could be drunk by the 1 in 50 people, mostly infants, who are allergic to milk. But anti-GM lobbyists are alarmed, not least because Daisy was born without a tail and her creators aren't sure why.
They proved it in theory, but as I say, at what cost? This animal's got no tail. What else the genetic engineering and cloning processes have done to it, we don't know.
That's because Daisy was created in this lab, cloned in part using man-made material. It's far from a natural process, and out of 100 embryos, Daisy was the only survivor.
The efficiencies are always relatively low, and a lot of pregnancies are lost in the early stages of gestation.
People who eat hot dogs eat them because they taste so good, but what's in them is not so good. You know, we've learned to accept it, but I don't know if you'll feel so accepting after this. The company Clear Foods recently analyzed 345 hot dog and sausage products from 75 brands and retailers and found, are you hot dog lovers ready for this? Human DNA in 2% of the samples and in 2/3 of the vegetarian samples. And get this, 10% of all vegetarian products appear to contain meat.
So I went to make a pot roast, and as I pulled it out the slow cooker, man, bro, what is that? Bro, that's a nipple, bro. That is a nipple, man. Clear as day. Yeah, they feeding us people. Tried to get me to eat some woman titty. Man, that's crazy. Look at this. Bro, that's a nipple.
We found genetic DNA evidence of children's teeth in the food, in the burgers, which linked it back to, not Wisconsin, Missouri or Wyoming, one of those states that's in the middle of nowhere, where they actually found human meat inside one of the processing plants at McDonald's. And they said, we're not sure how it's happened. Maybe something fell in there, but they haven't reported it. But between McDonald's closing, the reports of the Japanese McDonald's tried to pass the buck, try to blame it on the Americans, saying, we got the food from the USA. It didn't come from here. And then they said, you know what? That's probably somebody playing a prank. But they're closing a lot of branches down at McDonald's. And McDonald's traditionally, Nick, the last 40, 50 years has been one of the safest franchises you could buy, because what they do is they do a very, very detailed demographic study of where you're going to put these McDonald's, about the income of the people, where they are, the population. They don't just put them randomly. They're very, very specific about where they are. So human meat in the McDonald's food, including children's teeth that have been ground up and put in there. Very disturbing.
But why?
But why? It's where they hide the bodies. That's what they're saying. You know how many children disappear every year? Where are they going to hide? Say there's 250,000 children disappear in America every year. Where are all the bodies? You know, most people think, what are they going to do? Drive them along the highway? They always get discovered. They never bury them deep enough. You've got weather conditions that expose them. Animals expose them. It's hard. You'd be surprised how difficult it is to hide a body. And I'll tell you why I know, Nick, because there's neither North or South Carolina. There's the body farm. Now, the FBI they use this as a training ground. So what happens is when Americans die, they leave the bodies of science. And what they do in this ground is they put the bodies in different situations. One will be left out, one will be semi-buried, one will be fully buried, one will be buried upside down. They do all these experiments about how the decomposing the bodies helps them with the science when they find a murder victim or a body that they're not sure how it died. So, for example, if a larger man dies on his back, they can tell by the insects and how much fat has dripped out of his body underneath, how degraded the grass is and everything, to understand how long he's been decomposing for. So they know all about what happens with these bodies, how they do it. They've got all the forensic science about where they're from. There's always genetic.
You can't beat British grub. But these days, you've got to spend a packet to bring home the bacon. And don't even get me started on the eggs. The cost of living crisis is hitting Britain hard, with food prices rising at the fastest rate in 40 years. But now, a new line of affordable protein is hitting our shelves. This is engineered human meat. That's right, a protein made from human cells that promises to be cheaper and tastier than any of its competitors.